What's up, you guys? Oh my goodness, we are back with a new season of Living Real TV. I'm Karissa Atkins.
I'm Clara Capano.
And we hope you've been living real. We hope you've been enjoying all the amazing episodes that we are putting out there. And we hope that you're really getting great value from them. Now, I'm really excited to be back. It was like a reunion to see Clara again this morning. I was like, my long lost sister.
Yes, I know. So good.
Oh goodness. Well, today we just thought we would start off with season 3 with really just kind of talking about some strategies that help women get it done. Most importantly, get the important stuff done, right?
I think so many times as women in business, we get stuck in this rat race of having to do it all. And so, we're going to be sharing some tips in our areas of specialty to help women just, again, funnel things down so it's really focused on getting the right things done.
Yes. Well, we have our amazing Dion back.
I know, talking about right things we need to do. We got to have a drink, right?
Yeah, we cannot start a show without our amazing cocktails and, of course, Dion. So, Dion, take it away.
Good morning, ladies. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm really happy for season 3. I feel like we've been around the world like 3 times now. So, how do you start a season out? I always say you got to start a season out with peace of mind. And what brings everyone peace of mind? Tranquility. And that's the name of this cocktail.
Ooh, I like that.
So we're going to start out with a little Nate's Honey. And just for you people at home, this is a cocktail that is served warm. It's served with warm tea.
Oh, okay. He's definitely screaming my name now because I love tea.
Yeah, this is a unique one. I love the glasses.
I know they look kind of Asian-y. Is this like...
They are. So.
Okay.
And then we're going to use a little Hendrix Neptune. We're not going to use too much, just an ounce of this guy.
I've never seen that before.
That gin? Or
yeah, I don't think so.
Hendrix?
It's relatively,
Hendrix, yes.
It's kind of new to the market from Hendrix, but they make that cucumber and botanical gin. And then our last ingredient before we add our hot tea is going to be just a little bit of lemon juice. So this is both healthy and a little boozy at the same time.
Boozy hell.
Mindfulness. And then last but not least, we're going to add our summer blossom hot tea. And
I love how it's summer blossom. That feeds into that tranquility part.
Yes.
Nice and floral with some hints of lychee and chrysanthemum. And then I just give this a little stir. Not a lot, just a little bit.
I'm thinking with the honey and the gin and all of this would be an amazing drink, like after teaching and talking all day as speakers that we are, to kind of end and wind the day down.
Yes.
And protect our precious vocal cords,
It is.
of course.
That's like the biggest thing we protect.
And these keep you nice and tranquil. Thanks, ladies.
Love it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Dion.
All right, well, cheers.
Oh, they're so cute. Oh my gosh.
This is so great.
This is so perfect.
You can
for me.
smell the orange blossoms in the tea and
allergy season, because a lot of people's throats right now, they really are. I can feel it today, and
that little bit of honey, it just goes through and just warms your whole body up. This is perfect. So good.
Oh, it does make you feel good.
So, Karissa, as you go through and as you work with your clients, what are some of the little things that you do to make an impact?
Yeah, well, anytime I get a brand new client, I do send them a little gift. In fact, I send them a book and a little trinket that I go out and find specifically for them, because I just spent 60 minutes on the phone really getting to know the real root of their issues and some of their big causes. So that is important. And it is those like fine, like not everyone gets the same book, you know, but they all get a little something special, a little something that can anchor them into their program. So they kind of start with that. And then the thing that I really love to do, honestly, and I think what sets me apart from a lot of other coaches is that I will message my clients every single day via Voxer, and that way they're getting a little dose of Karissa. And whether I'm checking in on their action steps, maybe it's the midweek and I say, hey girl, what do you need to let go of right now that's stressing you out? Like just those little things that they feel that they have Karissa literally in their back pocket. So those are just some fun things.
I love that.
What about you?
You know, the thing that I love doing most are handwritten notes. And I really love to be able to, you know, when I listen to my clients, trying to pick up on some of the things that are going on in their world, whether, you know, they got a new client, but it could also just be something very personalized. And so I love being able to put together more personalized cards so that when they open it, they know that, you know, I'm paying attention to them. They know that I truly care, not just about them having success in business, but also in their lives.
And you guys, like, she's not freaking joking with you. I've gotten, and we're like business partners, right? Like, I have literally gotten 3 cards. Someone that she probably could say, oh, Karissa doesn't need this, right? Or I'm not gonna waste the money. But it literally is the 3 things. So I remember I got one for my birthday. I remember getting one from Living Real when we first started season 1. And then I was literally just in Vegas. I had gotten an award. I'd post, you know, some post on Facebook about like with my reward or and I think maybe my husband wasn't in it. But like a week later, I got a card from Clara Capano and it said, congratulations. And I was like, shut up. Like I started crying, you guys.
Yeah.
And then I like sent her, I was like, thank you, right? So those little things really build relationships.
They really do.
And I think speaking of relationships.
Yeah, I have to give a shout out, speaking of the little things. You know, you'll notice we have some other glasses that are here with us. These were actually given to me as a gift after one of my speaking gigs from some of my best clients in the Kentucky area. So they specifically said, we know that you always have a cocktail, always have drinks. So cheers to all of my friends at Seminin Real Estate.
I love that.
They take care of me very well.
And they are cute. Like, so this company, right? You said Kentucky. These, we've got horses on them, you guys. It looks like the Kentucky Derby. So when you can send little gifts that are actually like your brand, your area, like there's effort put into this cup, even though we don't think it, but we can see it.
Yeah.
And you have to put that kind of effort and attention in on others, but most importantly yourself, right? Your calendar, your life, your health. You cannot forget the little details. And I just want to give the shout out to this station right today, because we both walked in and we saw the cutest sign that said, welcome Living Real. And I was like,
we were so giddy. We were like the little kids on Christmas morning that, oh my gosh, and you know, people paying attention. And I think, you know, there's a really great TED Talk all on hospitality, the difference between service and hospitality. And it's by a gentleman named Bob Stuckey, who is a restaurateur out of Boulder, Colorado. And what he talks about is that hospitality can be your secret weapon. And so many times it doesn't even have to cost anything, you know, but it could be in remembering somebody's name, or remembering, do they have kids? Do they have pets? You know, and just really calling to attention. You know, I work with a lot of real estate professionals. So some of them, you know, send flowers on the first day of showings or when the client gets loan approval. You know, but it's just having, you know, coloring books in your conference room if people come in with their kids. But I think, you know, just really taking a moment to just kind of ask, is there just that little 1 degree that I can do? Something that doesn't even have to cost a lot or take a lot of effort. But when you just go that extra mile, those are the things that people remember.
It does.
And again, it bonds you with them. So
That reminds me of a book I read a long time ago. Gosh, it was my corporate days. Someone recommended it to me, and it's called Be Our Guest, and it's Walt Disney's book. Like, you should treat every customer as if they like are a guest in your home.
Absolutely.
You know, like cater to them, you make them feel special. And that book really stuck out. And I then took everything that I read in that book, and I remember going to, you know, the leadership and the bosses, and I was like, we need to treat every customer, whether it's $100 quick scratch or a $5,000 bumper job.
Absolutely.
Everyone gets treated with this standard. And they were like, okay. And that's really, you know, driven to excellence.
that is. Because they don't have to. It's Disney.
No.
You know, they don't have to. And one last little quick story, and then we'll dive into our topic of the day. I was at a retreat a few years back at the Four Seasons in Vail, Colorado. So again, amazing hotel, really known for their level of service and hospitality. Well, in my room, I had a Keurig, and it was when Keurigs were still relatively new, so I had not really worked with them. Exactly, that's pretty much what happened, and needless to say, it didn't work. And basically, I broke it, and there was coffee all over the place, but it was early in the morning, and I had to get down to the retreat. So I said, I'll just deal with this later.
Yeah.
Well, when I came back at lunchtime with the intention of cleaning up and doing whatever I would need to do, there was a brand new coffee machine with a box of chocolates and a handwritten note from the staff saying, "We are so sorry for the inconvenience that you have had." And I'm like, I broke it. It's my fault. But they were making me feel good. They were making me feel like it was okay and that I was safe. And again, that cost them nothing. But here it is now, several years later, and I still tell that story.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
it's amazing, right? You'll always remember them.
remember.
You'll probably always stay there if you're ever in that city again. So you guys go the extra mile. And the extra mile can literally be 1%. It doesn't need to be like literally like 3,600 and whatever steps in a mile is.
Exactly. So.
Oh, well, let's get into it because I love these strategies. I'm excited to learn from you. So you guys, if you don't know who Clara is and what Clara does, she really helps women create success on their own terms, right? She helps them set their freaking life up so that they really truly can have it all. And that's phenomenal because I do believe that women can have it all. We're worthy of it, we're capable of it, and damn it, we deserve it. So some strategies that when you work with your clients, so for this episode, you guys, make sure you grab a piece of paper and a pen because you're going to want to write all this stuff down. But Clara, what are some strategies or where do you want to start with the whole idea of how can women be doing the right things on the right days? How do women get it all done?
Right. Well, I'm a big proponent of, again, helping people get clear, hence the word clarity in everything that I do. And, going back to what you said about helping women create success on their terms. The truth is success is not one size fits all. Yeah. And somebody else's process is not going to work for me and my process won't work for them because we all have different lives. We all have different demands, different situations, whether we're married, have kids, divorced, whatever it may be.
Right.
So the idea is you've got to go into each week with purpose and defining on what that looks like for you. So one of my secret weapons, and this is something that I teach the women that I work with, is...
So you guys literally, secret weapon number one, write it down.
Gotta write it down, is before the week starts, you have got to have a strategy session with yourself. Because the truth is, regardless of what we do, we are the CEO in our business as well as the CEO of our own life. Yes. And just like any CEO, if you ran a Fortune 500 company, when you go in on Monday, you're gonna have a huddle with all your different departments.
Right.
Well, for many of us, we get to be all those departments. So we've got to check in and see what's going on. So having this session before the week starts, it's really going to set you up with the focus that you need and truly understanding where you need to be. So I call this how to define and how to set up a purpose-driven week. Awesome. So it all starts by carving out the time because again, everything has to be in its place. And so you want to block out time and this becomes an appointment with yourself.
Yes.
I do mine on Sunday nights.
Okay.
I have a lot of my clients that do it on Monday mornings. It doesn't matter what day, it's what's going to work for you.
Yeah.
So for me, I have an alarm that goes off on Sunday evenings at about 7:30 to remind me it's business planning time. Now, sometimes I get it done earlier in the day, and that's fine, but it's always in there as an appointment.
Yeah.
And it takes me about 25 to 40 minutes to do it.
So I have, I do a similar hour. I call it the Boss Up Babe hour, and I do it Friday from 3 to 4. Because I don't want to work on a weekend. It's a boundary, right? As a recovering workaholic who literally lost almost everything because her work was too important. So it really is a solid boundary of mine that I've put into place. But I named it something that's like empowering to me. It like makes me feel like I'm a badass. But yeah, on Friday afternoons, 3 to 4, I literally look at my calendar for the following week. I look at my tasks. I mean, you're going to get into that. But you guys name it something really cool. Right. It doesn't have to be like business planning session, because that seems like a daunting task.
It does.
Maybe.
And that's what it is again, you can't think of this as a punishment.
Yes.
Again, you have to think of it as a tool. And for me, I see what it brings me. And what I want to do is I want to share the 3 components that I do. But what I find is that when I do this, it actually ends up saving me probably a good 3 to 5 hours a week. Because it allows me to really compartmentalize and again, strategically place the areas I need focus on and to gain that clarity that I need. And the truth is, time is the great commodity that we all want. You know, so many times I sit down and people, when I ask them what it is they want to accomplish, it's, oh, I wish I had more time in the day.
Right.
Well, I can give that to them. And this is a great way to be able to open up your week and then being able to really get clear on where you are investing your time.
I love that.
So let's talk about the 3 components of this. Again, it's only going to take you about 30 minutes. And again, it's such an investment in your focus to allow you to really take control and go into your week with purpose.
Gotcha.
So the first thing you want to do is you got to review the prior week. You see, before we go forward, we've got to see what we're doing. You know, because if something is working, we want to carry it forward and keep doing it. Again, maybe tweak it a little bit, but we want to keep doing it. If it's not working, why? So that we can adjust it, adapt it, or drop it if it's something that isn't working. So you always want to go back and you want to reflect on the last week. What got done? What didn't get done? How was I showing up? One of the questions I love to ask myself is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how did last week go? And it's not so much, did I get everything done? It's, how did I show up? You know, maybe I gave myself a 7 because I had great focus at the beginning of the week, and then I started to kind of peter off on my energy towards the end.
What advice, let me stop you right there. What advice, because most women don't think that they're doing enough or they're getting enough done to even give them something higher than a 5, right? Because they're their worst critics. So what advice would you give the woman who's like, I'm just never getting it all done. I never get enough done.
Well, 1, let go of that, because you're never going to get it all done.
Let go of the thought?
Yes, let go of, you got to let go of the thought, because you're never going to get it all done. And I'm going to speak to that a little bit more, because the idea is you got to then take your weekly plan into a daily plan. And one of the things I encourage you to do also as you're reflecting, what were my wins for last week? You know, it's not, did I get a contract signed? Did I get a new client? Did I make money? It's again, did I really serve? You know, what, going back to what is your real purpose? What is it that you're really focused on? But writing down, because it's so easy for us at the end of each day, at the end of the week, to say, I didn't get anything done. But when you sit down and you have to focus and go through and say, what did I get done? Then you start to say, okay, I actually did get quite a bit done.
And if you're a visual like you and like Claire and I, we love the check marks,
love the check
right,
boxes.
on our to-do boxes, which is why you need to write it all down. You can say, holy hell, I did actually do a lot. Even if it was not money, financially related, but I've got the sales calls were made. It allows you to see the progress.
Absolutely.
Love it.
And again, when you review, you can find clues. So what I noticed for me is I do tend to have more focus and energy Monday through Wednesday, and then I kind of lose steam Thursday and Friday. Well, after reflecting on this and reviewing it and saying, hey, I noticed that every week, this is kind of a pattern. I now know when I set my week up, I front load my week so that I get more items done. But if you're not reflecting and reviewing, again, you're not going to know what's working and what's not working. So that's step number 1.
Okay, step 1.
Step number 2 is really starting to write down what are your targets for the week. So this is sort of a mind dump area. This is where you're going to say, okay, I need to do follow-up calls. I need to work on this project. I have these dates and deadlines. I have this class or whatever it is that I'm doing. So you really start to lay out, what are all the targets? Where does your focus need to go? Because then you can start to look at, okay, how am I going to make all of this work? And again, starting to get that clarity in what really needs to get done. Because you then take that to step number 3, which is putting your schedule together. Now, 2 things to really keep in mind when you're putting your schedule together. First and foremost, you must be honest. How much time do you really have to invest in your work this week? Because so many times we set the week up with the idea that we're going to get these items done when we don't really have the time to do that.
The unrealistic expectations.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous.
And it kills us. And that's why we end up running on the hamster wheel. So you need to be honest. If you only are going to be working 30 hours this week, don't set yourself up for a 40-hour work week. Yeah. If you know that on Wednesday you need to be done at 2 o'clock because you have to go to the dentist, set your time up. So be very honest. It's not a right or wrong of how many hours you have, it's what you do with those hours. But if you're not clear on how many hours you have to invest, it's going to be really hard for you to set it up with purpose.
Right.
So first and foremost, be honest.
On that, with that honesty, like just like a tip that I would give on that specifically, because a lot of women would take a vacation to get rid of, to get away from our crazy busy lifestyle, right? But then we come back, I find that most women, like, we stress out the week before, we really kind of think about it. When we're on vacation, we're like, I gotta remember all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Then you get back and you think, you're like, I gotta cram it all in now. So on that calendar, you guys, if you're taking a vacation or you're taking a work trip, like, schedule like flow time that next couple of days. Like me and you are going to Greece. There's no way when we get back for the 2 days after that, I'm going to be even functional. Like I'm going through an 8-hour, 9-hour, time difference. Like, so my Monday and Tuesday are just like literally they're blocked out. So my assistant can't take anything. But like, I just want it, like if I need to sleep, I need to sleep. If I need to work, I'll work. But I don't want to be tied to appointments.
Absolutely.
That's stretching that's that unrealistic expectation.
And that's where you have to, again, be honest.
Yeah.
Then the second thing that I really encourage people to do is the very first thing that you put in your schedule is, and hear me loud and clear on this, put your life in first. You see, the reason most people don't have a life is because they don't schedule their life.
Right.
So the very first things that go on my schedule is, again, self-care. When am I going to take care of me? When am I going to take downtime? When am I going to go work out? Because if I am not whole, and if I don't have the energy, I can't serve. Then it's family time, and then when am I off the clock? But you got to block that stuff in, and then it becomes an appointment. And then after that, you can then time block all of the other items that you need to do. You start to look at the to-do list, the target list that you did in step 2. Now you can compartmentalize it and say, when am I going to do all these items? And then you can start to time block. Now the biggest challenge here is people then say, oh, well, I put my schedule together. Now I can't change it. Yes, you can.
It's stuck in place.
It's your schedule. But this is where you have to be very smart about it. And again, be very honest about things. So just because something is in there and it's time blocked, it doesn't mean you cannot move it. But here's the caveat. You got to have a checks and balance. So if I have down that I am going to be going to yoga on Thursday morning from 9 to 10, and somebody calls me and they say, oh, I want to have a consultation with you. My first response needs to be, I would love to do that. However, I'm unavailable at 9 because I have a previously set appointment.
There's the no.
There's the no. And if
hidden
you think
in
about
that beautiful note.
Every other industry is doing this. So we have to, again, make sure that we are protecting our time. If they come back to me and they say, oh, well, I go to work at noon every day, the only time I have is in the morning. If it makes good business sense, if I really think this is the right client and the right thing for me to do, I can move it. And I can say, you know what? I'm able to free up my 9 o'clock and I can now move that appointment to later. I don't get rid of it, but I move it. But I only do it if it's a health or a family issue or if it makes good business sense. And what I find, and the reason that I learned all this was out of necessity. Because I was working 14, 16-hour days, and at the age of 26, I had ulcers, horrible health, depression, all of these things. By taking control back of my time, and by time blocking, what I found is that a schedule is not restrictive. A schedule actually brings me freedom. Because the things that get scheduled get done. And it really calls your attention to, does this make good business sense? Because not everything is the right thing for us to do. So by reflecting and looking at patterns, by getting your target list together and then by putting your schedule together and again being honest about it, it's going to really help you go into the week with the right kind of focus and the purpose that you need to again get the right things done. So it's become my secret weapon. And then what I do is every day.
And that's what you do on Sunday.
I do this on Sunday.
Okay.
And I would encourage people again,
pick a day.
Pick a day, but you want it to be the same because it becomes an appointment.
Yeah.
And then what I do is every other morning, I do my morning routine. And part of that is looking at my day and saying, okay, what does my schedule look like for today? And then I can even go to my to-do list that might have 20 things on it.
Right.
And just pick 2 or 3 and say, based upon my schedule today, what of these 2 or 3 things on my to-do list do I want to do?
Right.
And I can then schedule them.
Right.
I can say, do I need to make any adjustments to my schedule today? So that I can then again use my weekly plan to go into my daily plan. And then it all starts to tier because my daily plan supports my weekly plan.
Sure.
My weekly plan supports my monthly targets. My monthly target supports my 90-day target, which then supports my annual. So again, it's a way to keep it all together and make sure you are still showing up the right way.
Love that. I would just add that like when I time block, I color code it.
Yes.
Because I'm like a color junkie,
Me too.
right? So anything that is my self-care, my personal life is all in pink. And then my sales calls are all in green, right?
Me too.
Money green.
The money
Hello.
green.
It's like these signs that you plant, right? And then like and then I stick to it. I would say as someone who, if you're trying to work in that health and that exercise, like that's a solid hell no. Like I'm sorry, no client of mine or potential client would ever get time at 4 a.m. because that would be my time, right? Like I'm not giving up that time. But great tips. I love that. Tips 1, you guys, pick a day that works for you to plan, right? Name it something really cool. And then the 3 were reflect back. And then look at your to-do list, right? Think what ones you need to focus on. And then the 3rd was put it in the schedule. Give yourself some freedom. Give yourself some time. Clara just gave you a great tip. All right, y'all. We are going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into all things food prep because I too can give you time back when it comes to your health and success. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
365 Daily Hustle is a global health coaching company helping purpose-driven women boss up and get healthy so that they can truly show up and thrive in the world. We help women lose weight, gain energy, and feel sexy and confident in their bodies. We help women create sustainable habits that support a positive mindset, nutrition, exercise plans, stress relief, and of course, self-care. If you're tired of feeling like a failure when it comes to your weight loss and health goals, please visit our website at 365dailyhustle.com or join the Healthy Hustle Facebook community today for healthy tips, recipes, workouts, and more.
Welcome back, everyone. In our first half, I got to talk a lot about strategies and planning and going into the week with purpose. Yes. Karissa, I want to throw it over to you because as we talk also about being purposeful, we know that we need to show up as the best version of ourselves. Yeah. And the best way to do that is to fuel ourselves on the inside. Yes. And being that both of us are travel goddesses, and I know that in your past life, in your corporate career, you traveled a lot. I'm on the road about 30 weeks out of the year. And, you know, eating can be a challenge. You know, so I would love to be able to get some tips from you because I know you work a lot with your clients on teaching them the benefits and the ease, because again, let's be real, we need things to be easy, of food prep. So tell us a little bit about food prep.
Well, first off, I've been food prepping for about a decade now, and there was once a time that it was a big struggle for me. There was once a time that it took me 5 hours just to get it all done, right, to prep. And there was a time that I felt incredibly overwhelmed by the whole process. I remember getting my very first meal plan. I was about 170 pounds at the time. I went to a nutritionist because I knew it at that, I'd already lost about 50, 60 pounds and I already kind of cleaned up the habit of overeating, right, and becoming an emotional eater, going from emotional eating and binge eating to really getting a handle on how much food I was eating. But so I knew that the next level would be what does clean eating look like? How can I clean up my diet so that I can, continue on the weight loss train? And you know, the nutritionist, he was phenomenal. He was so informative and educational, but what he gave me was more overwhelm. So I got lists of things, hundreds of things that I could be eating, and I was like, but what is healthy? Like, I mean, there was cereal on these lists and there was Oreos on these lists, but I'm like, I didn't think that this is a meal plan and all these kinds of things. But really what I want to talk today about is one of the biggest keys to my success. When I worked in corporate and when I'm a stay-at-home entrepreneur now, either way, I food prep, right? And I do believe that this gives us time and freedom, and it allows us to stay really focused in on our health. So, just some big myths about food prep would be that, it's hard, it's complicated, it's boring. I don't like eating the same things, and I can't heat up food. Like all of these.
Yes.
Right?
These are all things that I've said to myself too.
And trust me, you guys, like I said this same crap too, right? Like I was like, oh, I don't eat leftover food. And then it was, I don't eat microwavable food. I'm not gonna eat heated up eggs. I'm not gonna eat heated up salmon. How gross. But I had to shift the mindset from like what I, couldn't do and wouldn't do to food is fuel. First off, like food's job is to fuel our bodies. And the number one thing women come to me, they're like, I need energy. You have so much of it. And how do you have it? And I'm like, okay, well, energy first off is like stress and food and exercise and lifestyle. But I tell them, food gives you energy. Food is meant to nourish your body. And when you take out all those carbs, and carbs, by the way, give us energy. Carbs are good, you guys. Oh my God.
When they're the right kind of carbs.
But at any point, like whether they're right carbs or good carbs or bad carbs, like I look at it as, well, anything is bad if you overeat it, right? I could eat 100 avocados today, you guys, and it would still be bad. I would have way too much healthy fats in my system. So if all of this today is just too overwhelming for you, I just want you to think, okay, if I just ate less, right? Moderation is always going to be key. It's always going to trump whatever. I mean, you can have the full Big Mac and supersized fry, or you can have a little junior cheeseburger and a small fry. Way better, right? It's the healthier version of versus a Big Mac. But biggest miss, right? So it's hard. Let's just bust that one really quick. Everything is hard the first time we do it. Okay, hello.
That's a good point, because you're creating a new habit, you're creating a new program.
You don't know anything. I didn't know jack crap. He didn't teach me how to food prep. He said, here's a list, go do it. And I was like, oh gosh, And so, of course, it was hard. It took me 3 or 4 weeks of fighting myself, first off. I was like, I'm not going to eat this anyways. Why am I doing this? It was pricey because, I had that belief of I can't eat the same thing every day because that's boring. So I tried to do one steak and one piece of chicken and and that was just really pricey. So I've learned how not to do it by doing it the hard way, right? So everything we do is hard. The first time you rode a bike, hard. First time you sat on a toilet and learned that, if you can even remember at 3 years old, hard, right? First time you wanted to go ask your boss for a raise, hard. So you got to just get really comfortable with trying hard things. So that to me is BS, and you just have to get over that one. The second thing would be that it's boring. Nobody wants to eat the same thing.
That is a big one. I know I have said, because I love spicy foods, and sometimes I open up and I look in the refrigerator and I'm like, and so what are some things you can do to keep it fresh and to keep it from not being boring?
Yeah. Well, I kind of like to take the approach, let's just take chicken, because everyone thinks healthy chicken, right? So first off, I will literally roast a whole chicken, or I will take 2 packets of chicken breasts and marinate them all in different seasonings. So that is the easy brainer. If you want to eat something a little different every day, that's where I would go. But a roast chicken, $7 at the store. It gets me 5 meals, you guys.
I love those rotisserie chickens. They have, great flavors. They have different ones.
Yes.
And I know even you can go in, and now there's a lot of, companies that make the pre-made chicken breasts. You still cook them, but they have all the seasonings on them. So if you don't have a lot of the seasonings at home,
no excuse, you guys. They're literally making it so simple for you guys to go home and eat something different every day. But I will literally go and roast the whole chicken. It takes 5 hours. My house smells amazing. Everyone gets hungry. But then I shred it all apart, and now I'm portioning. This one's going to be buffalo flavored. This one's going to buffalo This one's going to be like Mexican. I'll put some Mexican seasonings on it. This one's going to be, you know, Greek feeling. So you can change it up. Now, I did get to the point where I was like, my life is so busy, I don't want to change it up. So that was the shift, right? Where I was like, food is just fuel. And food, yes, it's meant to be enjoyed, but if I follow the 80-20 rule, like 80% eating cleaner and just keeping with simple stuff, and then dinner time is where I can add in the fun, the spice, the life.
I like being able to have that sort of balance to it where you don't have to have every meal. I mean, you could be as regimented as you want, but I love being able to maybe pick a meal a day or a certain day a week where you can have a little bit more flexibility.
Yes, but trust me, you guys, if you were as busy, so my job before started at 7:30, didn't typically end till 7 p.m. I food prepped everything, breakfast, 2 snacks, and a full lunch. So I had 4 meals with me every day at work. And I did get to the point where I was like, I'm just keeping this simple, right? Like I ate boiled eggs all the time for probably a year back in the day when I could eat eggs. It was 6 boiled eggs every morning. It was crazy. But anyways, I think the last myth is just, you know, it has to be complicated. It's complicated. It's hard to get it all done. And it is if you're thinking I need to prep 50 meals.
Right.
I didn't start there. Hello. We got to start with the easiest thing, which kind of brings me into my way, my process, and this is really what I teach. So, is to how to uncomplicate food prep.
Right.
So when we think about food prep, you guys, you all automatically you think breakfast, lunch, maybe, and some snacks. So just take that whole, and then you're like, I gotta shop, and I gotta prep it, and I gotta get containers, and I gotta know what I'm gonna cook, like all of these components. And I was trying to do it all on a Sunday, because at first that was the only day that I had that was free. And now I'm like in family day and all this stuff. So I uncomplicated it. I said, Karissa, if you know you have to make a plan, right? You have to know what you want to eat next week. And you have to go grocery shopping, because this is pre-COVID, I remember, back when grocery stores were not doing delivery, and you couldn't just pull up and throw them in the back and be done. So this was back then. So I was like, okay, I gotta plan it, I got to buy it, and then I gotta prep it. 3 things I was all trying to do on a Sunday before church, after a workout, and still trying to be a mom, right? So I said, forget it, break it down, right? So on Wednesday, my first process is like pick a day that you can sit down and plan your meals. Just plan them. And I do this with my family. I'm like, guys, what does everyone feel like eating, right? Because they're gonna eat it too. I'm not cooking a separate meal for them. Okay, so
it's so funny that you say that, because my mom used to do that, and she used to sit down and again plan the meals out for the entire week. And I think that makes it. I know that I have taken that to heart. And it makes it so much easier when we talk about, again, time, because 1, it could be part of your business plan, like we talked about in the first half of the show, so you can put that into your schedule. But when you start to meal prep, again, it makes it easier to go to the grocery store. You save time at the grocery store.
Oh, everything,
because you know what it is. And
time is a huge benefit.
It just gives you that.
Because, I mean, even think, how much time do you spend when it's 12 o'clock and it's your lunch hour, and you're like, what do I want to eat, okay? And if you're rushing, you're then not going to make a great healthy decision. You're gonna be like, okay, what's the quickest convenient thing I can get my hands on? If you're even eating, by the way, I know a lot of women are like, I'll just skip lunch today, which is ultimately the worst, you guys. So yeah, like time all day long, time in a drive-through, time at the store. So having a solid plan, and I only do 7 days. 10 years ago, you guys, I planned the entire month.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. 4 weeks worth of food that I have in my deep freezers and all that stuff. But anyways, so you have to plan it. So every Wednesday night, I pull my cookbooks out, I grab, my daughter, I grab Will, and I'm like, what do we want to eat? And we just put the plan down, okay? And then I literally spend, it's maybe 12-minute process now, because you do tend to eat similar things, right? Sarah wants spaghetti, Will wants steak, like they all kind of want their go-tos. So I make out the grocery list right then and there. And I have a really cool handout that I give my clients that really does just make it stupid simple. So the second part of that, now we got to grocery shop, right? So when you have a plan and you know exactly what you need to buy, it saves you money now, because you're not wandering the aisles like, oh, that sounds good and this sounds good. And then if you're hungry, then everything sounds good. So everything goes in the pot. But like, no, and going in with a plan, buying what's on your plan, it does save you money, because
really
you're
does.
not just randomly picking stuff. that's going bad in your fridge because at the time it was a great thought.
Yeah.
Then you get home and you're like, I don't know what I was going to make with this artichokes. Like, who knows what I was thinking.
And I just kind of want to talk to the idea of sort of variety and flexibility because, you know, when I'm not on the road, I am home and I love to cook.
Right.
And sometimes I want something more fresh, but I can still put this into play, meaning that I can again get a rotisserie chicken and still divide it into the portions.
Right.
But I can make my salad fresh that day. I can still have all the ingredients. So I can again kind of take apart my lettuce, you know, chop up my tomatoes. I can have things
still prep
ready
all of that
to go. So again, that's what it is. It's not that you have to make the entire meal. You can make 3 chicken breasts and cut them up and season them and just have those in a container so you can pull them out and make something, but that's still going to save you time and save. So again, it doesn't have to be that you have to put the entire meal together.
Right.
Sometimes it's prepping the components of a meal.
Yes. And I call it like batch prepping almost, because nowadays a lot of people are working from home. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to have like adorable, cute little containers unless you're like me and you're like, oh, here it is, right? Like I just love it. But yeah, like batch prep. So maybe you batch a whole bunch of quinoa and you batch prep a whole bunch of rice and then you have some chicken and you made a whole tenderloin.
Right.
Like now you can just grab and pull what you like.
Exactly.
My salads, all the lettuce is washed. The tomatoes are all cut. The cucumbers all cut. So I just pull it all out, make a salad bar, go at it, right?
I think it's really interesting that you're talking about this because I think so many times we are already doing this in other areas of our life. Think about laundry. Many times when people put laundry in the hamper, they have a white bin, a color, you know, so they're already doing that. So when they go to do laundry, it's already separated. You know, I know for me, like when I do my handwritten notes, I already have my note cards, my stamps. It's like I have everything in its place so I can just grab and go. It's the same concept.
Yeah. Yep, and it was in the collision industry, which is the industry I came from, right? It's an assembly line. Like this car has to take the parts off. This one preps the parts. Like it's so easy, and that's what I do when I food prep. I literally have all of it out, like once I've cooked everything, and I have it ready to go. My containers are all out. I love seeing it, and I'm like, right? You know, and then the protein. And it doesn't always have to be chicken. I know we say that. Health doesn't always mean a salad. You guys, come on. Like, spice up your freaking life. It doesn't need to be salad and tuna or chicken breasts and sweet potatoes or brown rice. Like, boring. Gone are those days we don't have to eat like that, okay? Like, and so just spice it up. Anything that you like from a restaurant, think, how can I food prep this at home, right? One of my favorites is a Chipotle bowl. Who doesn't love Chipotle bowls, right? Like, it's Cinco de Mayo today, and so.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'm like thinking Mexican, so that's on my brain. But Chipotle, right? So I went out to Chipotle. I'm like, this is $10, right? By the time I had the guacamole, which is phenomenal. So yeah, I have my bowl, and I'm like, technically I need to double the chicken because now I need more protein in my life. So I'm like, okay. So yeah, it ends up being a $10 or $12 lunch. Okay, let's just be real. And if you get a drink, that's more, and you get chips because we're in America and we love to have it all. So yeah, it's an expensive meal. Something like that literally cost me $2.25 to make my own rice bowl. Are you kidding?
Right.
And now I know what the ingredients are. I get to add more of what I want without spending more money.
Right.
So it really does save a lot of money. People say they can't afford to eat healthy. I'm like, girlfriend, you cannot not afford to do it.
It really is a game changer. And I also notice, again, you can adapt this when you're on the road. I know many times when I go, I'm in a city for an entire week at a time. One of the first things I do before I even go to the hotel is I go to the grocery store and I buy, again, a rotisserie chicken, or I buy some pre-cut chicken breasts. I buy, some sweet potatoes. I buy things that I can keep. And I oftentimes make my own lunch to bring with me, because oftentimes they're bringing lunch in for 50 to 100 people. It's not always the best. And I don't always have the healthy options. And for me, if they bring in pizza or a taco bar, which are wonderful and fabulous, but for me, I know it spikes my insulin, which makes me drop energy level in the afternoon. And I mean, sometimes they'll bring in and they'll have, all this pasta, which is great, but if I eat that, I am not going to be able to teach and perform in the afternoon. So, I mean, I just bring my little bag with me, and it's great. And it puts me again back in control, but it's more again about, I am here to do a job.
Right.
If I'm a participant and a student, that's a different story. But if I am really there to, again, perform, I've got to be at my peak performance. And I can't do that unless I fuel myself the right way.
Right.
So being able to have healthier options in my hotel room. Oftentimes, if I'm staying at a hotel and they have a restaurant, I look at the menu before I book my hotel so I can see, are there some healthy options there?
Sure.
If I have the ability to tell them, these are the things that, you know, I need you to order for me if they ask me, you know, if they can do things. But I think, again, you've got to start thinking about ahead of time. And that's where, again, it comes into that
prepping. You can't be running on the go-to. That's what most people in America do is they eat for convenience instead of the other way around. I eat for fuel. That's a great thing to go to the store or to kind of prep some of that, but like press the easy button even, right? Like that's still a lot of work if you have an hour to get to a hotel or you've been traveling
I've
all
had
day.
it delivered a couple times.
Yeah,
and it's right
so
there
like
for me when I get to the hotel.
Hello, Uber Eats. Or my favorite is, there are tons of places small businesses that I can support that will pack and make freshly made meals for you now, right? There are chefs all over. So I would literally look it up, and if there's not like an Eat Fit Go or a store like that where you can literally go and grab a bunch of stuff, but you can now put your order in and then have someone literally deliver it to your, there's no excuse.
Right.
So really what it comes down to is discipline.
It really is.
You really do need to be more disciplined and stop just allowing, all these circumstances to kind of happen to you. And you have to take some ownership. If your health's important, if your energy's important, then it needs to show. It needs to show.
Yeah.
And something I used to do, because a lot of our audience, they're working women. They're maybe not entrepreneurs, or they don't have the flexibility that if I'm like, or maybe they don't travel the world. At the end of the day, I spent 6 years working on golf courses, not like on the course, but I would take clients out. I would schmooze with them. I would take them to dinners. That was my job. That was my role. I was a relationship builder, business development, and a lot of that, most people would just show up to the course and eat whatever's on the golf course. But right, my health was important. You have to remember, I was getting healthy and I could care less what other people thought of me. So when people say, yeah, but I'm always out and about, or I'm always in my car, in and out of the car, your realtors, friends, this is a great tip, okay? So quit making that excuse, because that is an excuse. But the second thing is, I got my ass a little cooler, and I literally would pack a cooler. I know it sounds ridiculous, you guys, but my health is that important to me.
At the end of the day, it's your life. And again, you have to, on some level, let go of the ego and get over that. I know that a lot of times I do have a cooler and I take it with me on the planes because I never know if I'm going to get stuck or delayed. And I don't want to have to be at the mercy of running and having to grab something from the airport. I want to have my healthier snacks with me if I need them. And, we used to do the same thing. I remember at one of the companies I worked with, all of us wanted to get healthier. And so we would have lunch together, but we would all bring our own meals in and we would have lunch together in the conference room. And I mean, it sends a message to other people, again, that you are disciplined and that you do take care of yourself. And on some level, people want to work with successful people and people who are disciplined.
They do. I absolutely do. Because guess what happens when I pull out my meal on the golf course, or we stop by, at the clubhouse, and I'm like, hey, can you warm up my food? And then the girl at the counter is like, sure. This is so weird. And I'm like, just 2 minutes. That's all, right? Crack the corner in 2 minutes. But it really did. The guys or the gals beside me, they were like, wow, you're really, disciplined. You're really focused. I'm like, well, yeah, my health's important to me, right? My kids are important to me. I want to live a long time. And that alone starts building this bond, because now it's real.
It is.
I'm like,
and it sends a message,
so
because
real.
if you're going to do that, it is going to carry into your professional life and how you show up to take care of them too.
And this was before I was a coach,
Right.
you guys. I wasn't even trying to teach people how to do this. This was just coming up in conversation. If I was out at a networking event and I was like, oh, no, thank you, because I have all the yummy foods and the meat and cheese platters and wine galore. And you're like, okay, I'm going to have discipline. I'm going to have one glass of wine and then I'm going to be done. And I'm going to go, right? I'm going to have a little snack in the car so that I don't get there and just want to pig my face out. Why? Because I'm there to build a relationship.
Exactly.
I'm there on business, not there to feed off of the buffet.
Exactly.
So what ties it all together, though?
Yeah.
Right? So step one was, you got to create a plan.
Got to create a plan.
Step two was you got to actually go buy your stuff, right? Go with the plan. Step 3 is getting it done, execution. And when it comes down to it, you do have to pick a day. I call it your down day. For me, it is a Saturday or Sunday, because again, I don't work on the weekends unless I'm to and from travel. But it's the same time every Sunday for me. Yeah. It's non-negotiable. These are non-negotiable things for me. Why? Because if I have 20 or 30 meals in my fridge ready to go every single day, I can literally grab it and go. Yeah. So I'm saving so much time. I would rather be outside eating my delicious lunch than inside the kitchen scrambling for something, picking out, some Doritos and shoving them in while I'm making something healthy over here because now you're starving. So you have to set a day and make it part of your lifestyle. Yeah. This is not a diet. This is not a 30-day get rich, fix. Do it every single day at the same time. It's non-negotiable.
The interesting thing is, we talked in the first half, again, about more of the strategy around business, and now we're talking about the strategy around, again, food prepping and doing that. And we can sit here and we can talk discipline, we can talk execution, but at the core of everything is the mindset. Because again, when you were talking and you're like, this is a non-negotiable for me. I'm eating healthy because my family is important and I want to be around to be here and be healthy for them. It's the same thing with the business planning. A schedule brings you freedom. So it all has to start with your mindset. When you get really clear on who it is you want to become and you start to connect with that identity. Yes. It's so much easier to then have the discipline and put the process together because it's not, I have to food prep or I have to business plan. It's, I get to do this because this is going to help me become the person I want to become. So a lot of times you've got to let go. Just like we used to say the mindset of, it's boring, it's expensive. That's a mindset. Yeah. And when you shift your mindset and really get clear on the why, it's so much easier to do everything.
And I would piggyback off at the, because we were at the core of it all, right? Fix your mindset, hit a reset there. But stop doing so damn much. Yeah. Your fields and my fields. I bet that's the number one consistent thing between your clients and mine. Yep. Right? Women in general do way too much stuff.
We do.
Way too much stuff.
I know.
So quit doing it all. You don't have to do it all.
I know. One last quote and then we'll close it out here 100%. Is, speaking about that, one of my mentors, Robin Sharma, I love what he says. He says, the genius behind success is not in complexity, but it's in simplicity. And that's exactly what I hear you saying too. It is better to do less at a higher level. And I agree 100%. Stop trying to do it all. Yeah. You do not need to. Be really great and show up for the few things that are really going to be the needle movers for you.
Yeah, the triple D's, right? Do, delegate, or delete.
I love it. I love it. Well, wow, what an amazing episode. We covered so much today. We talked about going into your week with purpose and focus of where you're going to be investing your time. We talked about how to fuel yourself from the inside so that you can perform better on the outside, and how to do all of these with ease, with grace, and at the end of the day, to get it all done. So we just want to thank you so much for joining us today for another powerful episode of Living Real TV. We appreciate you watching, and we are looking forward to the next time that you're joining us. Until then, I'm Clara Capano.
And I'm Karissa Atkins.
Keep living real.